Yes, good evening. It's Tuesday and it's a leap year, isn't it? So today's the 27th and we're going to go on to the 29th, I believe, which happens once every 4 years. So we are here to preview.
Oh God! You know what? I was waiting for a corny joke to come. Honestly,
No.
Honestly, I was waiting. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right, cool.
So we are here to preview Nottingham Forest versus Man United, an important game for our season because we're sort of slipping away from top four. Maybe we've got a chance in the FA Cup. Just over to you, Mr. B. How are you? I haven't spoken to you for a while. How was your weekend? Did your team play? Did you put in a performance?
My game was called off again, man. I don't even bother anymore. I literally turns up come Friday, I expect it to be called off, and then I drink on a Saturday or do watch-alongs and watch us play crap like we played on Saturday. So, yeah, look, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Roll on tomorrow in a game that we're going to win.
Yeah, well, we hope so. Apart from, I didn't even ask you, did you play at the weekend? Because I know you're on a scoring spree, a bit like Haaland at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, no, we didn't play at the weekend, and I won't be playing this weekend either because I'm going on holidays.
Your favourite location, is it in Spain?
It is, yes. And I wish I could stay there for the City match, to be honest, and not come home.
Tell us about Seville oranges, because I always hear about Seville oranges being the best in the world. Is that true?
Yeah, they're very good. I'd have to taste like every orange in the world to know, but yeah, they're very good. There's orange trees there. Like everything has like the orange juice in the cafes and things. It's like if you want to go somewhere nice on holiday, go to Sevilla. It's a great place.
Brilliant. EasyJet.
Yes.
Okay, I might consider it. It's supposed to be one of the hottest places in Spain as well, because it's inland in a spot which is quite severe for the heat. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's proper hot. I mean, I don't know what this has got to do with the Nottingham Forest preview, unless oranges grow unless that's your link. But no, it's like Sevilla. It's called the oven of Europe, and it is like our hottest place around. That can get plus 40 degrees in the summer. But it's like all the houses and things are designed for it. Like, so it's not that bad. But it's got a water park in the city, which is a lot of fun. I've been to a couple of nightclubs where like a swimming pool turns into a nightclub. It's absolutely outrageous. Wow. Great fun.
That sounds like my sort of city. Mr. B, fancy taking a trip later this year?
I've been to Sevilla. I played a game of football there.
In the heat.
A long time ago. We spent the first day playing football, the second day eating, drinking, and getting kicked out of clubs for being black and eating ice cream. So yeah,
it is a bit racist, to be honest.
A bit,
like
blood.
Yeah,
blood. I was in. I see. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was different. It was different.
That's say my experience of Spain's been the same like that. I've been walking around the streets looking at people walking around in sort of pre-1945 German uniforms, you know. But anyway, let's talk to the people in the comments. Big up Solo. How you doing, Solo? Welcome to the agenda. Welcome, Jeff, as well. Hope you're doing well. Prayers are going your way. BT is saying a number of players of Arsenal day off after the defeat to Fulham. Are they taking the mickey? The Michael, he's saying there. We could talk about that. Could Maguire and Bruno be some of them as they're in doubt for the Forest game? Unfortunately, I didn't know about this. Thanks, Jay Lee and Big T, because the news is coming in on the spot. I didn't know this when I set up the show. Those poor youth players who will have to take the places will be traumatized at City, says Jay Lee. Big up to Matthew Bassett. Big up to Big T. Said Bruno's never injured. He's out of the team for being CRAP, sorry. Big up to Andrew Williams. How you doing, Andrew Williams? Good to see you. Big up to DK Wilson as well. And he's saying, I hope Bruno gets the game off. He needs it badly as well. There's bath time. Yes, indeed. Here's some geography about Spain. Andrew Williams says, Darius, go to the alternative lifestyle resort in Cadiz. We played against them last year, didn't we?
I've never been to Cadiz.
Okay. And,
what's your... Oh, it's swinging.
Okay. Rumour has it when Darius goes to the nudist beach, everyone gets dressed. Big T's.
I'm right.
No doubt about it. And we should get Scholes out of retirement, says Bilal. How you doing, Bilal? Nice to see you. Anyway, if you notice, guys, we've got a nice new setup here, thanks to Mr. B. If you've got epilepsy, please stream.
Just like the stream before you go.
Anyway, and if they do have a fit, just stand back and let them see it out. Anyway, guys, we're talking today about Nottingham Forest versus Man United's FA Cup. And it's important. It's really important, isn't it, to win this game? But how important is it for you guys, Darius and Bath Time? Are we focusing on league, or do you? Because I remember, Mr. B, you were saying about one game a week. You know, that's all we need. That's all. You know, we don't want any injuries. We're glad we're out of Europe. But do you want FA Cup? How important is it for the FA Cup as well? Because we've got 2 games, big games this week.
I would take it if it means we go all the way to the final, and we do better than we did last year. But my fear is that we're not even going to get that far on Monday. One a week. I did think one a week would have been great for us, and the players would have been getting the rest. But from the news we're hearing, it makes no difference. They're still getting injured, whether they're playing or not. So, yeah, we've got problems. We've got problems.
Do you agree with that, Bath Time, about how important the FA Cup is this season, or should we be focusing on getting top 4?
I think it's wildly important now, but a lot of that is due to, like, earlier in the year, my dad had a health scare, but he's all right now. But I remember thinking, like, there are so many people that are not going to be able to celebrate trophies with their family, and like when the next one comes around, who's going to be there? And for me, it would feel less if, like, people from my family have passed on. So I've now decided that every trophy we go into is of vital importance, because it could be the last one that you celebrate with your loved ones. So I want everything.
Deep. Just quickly, there's 4 trophies that you can go for if you're in Europe. You have the Champions League or the Europa League. You have the Premiership. You have the domestic cups, the League Cup and the FA Cup. Would you separate them and say the 2 majors and 2 minor trophies? So the FA Cup is now seen as a minor trophy with the League Cup, and the Premier League and Europe are major trophies. Do you see the separation there? Do you agree with me on that?
A little bit. I like all of them. You know, I'd like to win them all. And like the Carabao Cup used to be a bit of a joke, but now it's actually a pretty important tournament. I think it's a lesser tournament, the Carabao Cup, because as we've seen a lot, a team that wins it that doesn't have too much to play for can just coast for the rest of the season. Champions League and the Premier League are the big ones, and the FA Cup is a little bit below that, and then the Carabao Cup for me is a little bit lower, but I'll take any of them.
Okay, so you agree there's minor and majors. Do you agree with that, Mr. B? Champions League or Europe and the league are majors, FA Cup and League Cup minor trophies.
Yeah, the FA Cup is sort of the, once you've won the league, that's the day out. That's the one that you get afterwards. So, yeah, there is an order. But I mean, to be fair, beggars can't be choosers. So, you know, one person's trash is another man's treasure. So I'll take another man's trash at the moment, to be fair.
Good one. Nice one. Big T saying FA Cup qualifies you for the Community Shield as well. All right, let's talk about this, guys. Is the manager under pressure, in a word?
Yes.
Obviously.
Okay. Let's talk about this. So let's go back in time. We've done a history lesson.
It's in black and white.
We've done a geography lesson. Now we're going to do a history lesson. So Ferguson's first job at Old Trafford was to overturn the run that previous incompetent Ron Axon had in. And he succeeded in lifting the Devils from relegation zone when he had arrived into 11th place by the end of the 1986-87 season, revamping every aspect of life of the club. Sounds familiar? From training regimes to the scouting network, youth setup, while paying particular attention to the boozing antics of a select few. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, about the changes that he had to make? Ferguson brought discipline back into the change room. Sounds familiar. The signings of Steve Bruce, McClare, Viv Anson, among others, helped lift them to a worthy second place in his first full season, yet 9 points behind the champions. So we came third in our first season under Ten Hag. He came second in his first full season. Unable to continue with that kind of challenge, though, an inconsistent side slipped to 11th in the next season. At times, Ferguson's men looked like they could be title contenders. At other times, they looked like they could be placed in the second division. Clearly, their final position in the table was far less than expected, and with the side described as hard-working, methodical, and dull. Fergie's cautious style was hardly winning over any fans either. So at this point, he's under pressure, coming 11th after coming second as well. Ahead of the 1989-90 season, Fergie's attempts to put the club's boozing history to bed came to a head when he sold Stretford End's favourites Norman Whiteside and Paul McGrath. Gordon Strachan had previously been offloaded to Leeds for £200,000, and the loss of such star names, while ultimately good for the club in the long term, were not viewed as a positive step in the short term, despite the signings of Neil Webb, Phelan, Ince. Since he arrived 3 years previously, Ferguson had bought 16 players at the cost of around 13 million, which is quite a lot back then, and sold 18, with only Brian Robson and Mike Duxbury remaining from the team that he inherited. So this is going way back. And any similarities there, guys, with what we're going through at the moment?
It's brilliant for a Forest preview hearing about like stuff that went on in 1987. I imagine, Amonde, that there's a subtext to what you've brought up here, which is that you want to say that there are similarities between Erik ten Hag and Sir Alex Ferguson.
Well, I'm asking you, do you see any similarities to the problems that he had to inherit from when he took over at Man United?
In regards to it being a mess, yes.
Yeah.
In regards to the transfers, you said there that there was only 2 players left after 2 years? Was that 2? He was able to clean out what he wanted to clean out. Ten Hag hasn't been able to do that. So I suppose there is similarities in regards to, I suppose you're going to say he should have time and blah, blah, blah. But it's a different age now. Managers aren't going to get the time. Everything's scrutinized. Everything. You've got Jamie Carragher talking like he's a manager, but I do notice that at no stage did he say how to change it or how to fix it. It was just, this is wrong. I can do that. Yeah. I want to see somebody say to me, oh, he should be doing this, or he could do that, or he could do this, or could do that. So at the moment, there's a lot of talking from people, and I suppose back in the day there would have been a lot of talking as well. But he had time. I just don't think he's going to get the time on Monday. As much as it mirrors a little bit, Fergie had the time. There's no chance. There's no way he's going to get the time.
Okay, let's go on to this slide here. Did Mark Robins really save Man United? Now, you can see the banner there. This is what was happening to Fergie at the time. 3 years of excuses and still this crap. Ta-ra, Fergie, in the words of Cilla Black. Ta-ra, see you later. They wanted him out because he wasn't winning anything. So the FA Cup kind of saved him. And we played Nottingham Forest in the 4th round, I think it was, of the FA Cup that year. And won the game, thanks to Mark Robins' goal. Viv Anson certainly thinks so, that Mark Robinson saved it. He said believes that the Robins goal gave Manchester United newfound confidence, which spurred them on to win the FA Cup that season. Hopefully we can do the same tomorrow. I just remember a sense of relief afterwards, and then also the feeling that it could have been our year kicked in. Anderson said there was a renewed sense of optimism after that win. It triggered something and we turned the corner. So beating Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup after a poor season with a goal from a youth player coming through helped them turn the corner because Fergie was on the ropes. However, opinions vary. Robin's former teammate Claire said, for example, is more skeptical. I generally don't believe that to be true, he said on the idea in 2020. Martin Edwards, United chairman at the time, said, and Bobby Charlton, who were on the club's board, have since said that Fergie was not in immediate danger of losing his job, even in the external pressure, if that was undeniable. We won the game and went on to win 30-odd trophies. Anything else is irrelevant. But has he ever thanked me? No, says Robins back in 2009. He went on to be a good manager and a player. So obviously, Robins scored the goal that saved Fergie, and we went on to win the FA Cup that year. Mark Robins, do you remember much about him, guys?
Not much. To be
Not,
fair,
yeah.
Remember the game against Forest, how crucial it was back in 89, 90?
I remember bits.
Okay, well, there you go. He was lifted above high by the fans. That's how much it meant to them. And as I showed you earlier, Fergie was under pressure. Robin scored the goal. This is in like early rounds of the FA Cup. And yeah, you can see he's raised upon high by the fans, saluted for his achievement there of getting us through and maybe saving Fergie from being sacked. We're in the same situation today. We have to beat Nottingham Forest, don't we? Clearly tomorrow. It's so important. Shall we talk about injuries, guys, and availability?
Yeah,
For
I think we should.
1987 or for this week?
All right. This is what I've got so far, but thanks for the update, guys. So Luke Shaw's out by injury. Martinez has got a knee injury. Martial, we know whatever's going on with him. Groin, hip, pelvic, all the rest. Malacia, it's a knee injury apparently. That's the first I've heard of it today.
He's on the cans. He's on the ice cream.
We didn't know before what it was, did we, Mr. B, about his injury? Rasmus is there. We're saying other, but he could be back in a couple of weeks. Mason Mount, like Martial, has got a three-way injury, and Wan-Bissaka, it just says other. But thankfully, Casemiro, after bleeding on the other day and coming off, he's actually available tomorrow as well. But what do you think about this, guys? We're really sort of down to our bare bones, and apparently, as it says in the comments, bath time. Not only are these guys out, but we've got like more bad news with Maguire being a serious doubt and Bruno as well. Thoughts on this, guys? Is this really happening?
It's Maguire's definitely out, and there's doubts over Varane and Bruno.
Wow,
we're done. We're done. Look, our squad's not that deep anyway, and the fact that those two are going to be out. I mean, look, there's no point in Solo putting up his 11 because that's completely gone. So I have no idea what gets done. I mean, you know, we're going to be looking at. So look, we'll go through some names in a bit, I suppose we can do. But do you think this is a reason why a lot of them want in the Monday off?
I don't know. Bath time. What do you reckon?
To what? Sorry.
So apparently the players wanted a day off after the game, which we lost against Fulham.
Yeah, which is fairly normal. Like, I think that's like I know that Mr. B is a manager, and say you're Monday. I will always take the side of the players because that's the only sort of experience that I have. And after playing a football match, you need recovery. Like, it's not like. I don't know, Ahmad is necessarily asking for the day off or Anthony who played a minute or something. But it's for the players that played the whole match. Like, I think that there should probably be more respect paid to them where, you know, if Bruno, Maguire are asking for time off, they're not children. They know their bodies. They know that they need the rest or something. And it's not like they're asking for a day off work because they're lazy. It's their body. It's who you are. So I think it's perfectly fine to have some sort of ownership and responsibility for, you know, for the thing you walk around in like all day. And it's a strange story to leak as well. To be honest, it seems like a perfectly normal request to me. And I don't know who benefits from that story coming out.
Well, I think with the news that players have been injured, maybe that suggests here, like Bart's saying, that there's an article where they were saying that Ten Hag ran them too hard in pre-season after a long season last season. So, and obviously it was a World Cup year last year, wasn't it? And we were in the finals and things. So maybe that's an issue. Mr. B.
We all praised Varane, didn't we, in the summer when he came out and like said it's ridiculous to take the injury time that was in the World Cup and add it to the Premier League because it affects the players and things like that. So I don't see too much difference between that and asking for time off to recover. It's not like they said, do you know what? I want to go paintballing or I want to go and see The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. Like I've
seen that.
Oh, God. Is it good?
It's terrible. Absolute terrible, man. It's like one of these 80s action films where there's a bit of humor. It's so cheesy that it's humorous. So I took it seriously for the first like 20 minutes until I was like, what's going on here? You know,
Taking it seriously.
Taking it seriously, like, oh, this is intense. This is a proper thriller action movie. And after a while, I was like, what's going on? And I realized, I've been done here. This is like a spoof. Like a B movie or something. It's a joke, absolute joke.
Yeah, but 80s action movies are the best. Have you ever seen? There was one I used to watch when I was younger called The Monster Squad. Have you ever seen The Monster Squad? It was like for kids, and there's a bit in it where Dracula has a stick of dynamite and he blows up a kid's treehouse and goes meeting adjourned. And like, we need more of that in cinema. That for me. Get your best 80s action film in, please.
I think Commando's got so many great quotes in it. What's the guy who hangs off the thing? Says,
Benny.
Remember I said I was going to kill you last? I lied. Or hitting him with the pipe saying, cool off. And the Predator...
Let off some steam.
Yeah, let off some steam. And on the airplane, we said he's a bit tired. No, he's dead tired. Do not disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
I can't believe this. 80s film reviews and 80s team news.
Andrew Williams saying Monster Squad was amazing. I'm going to have to check that out. Mr. B, favourite 80s action film, please?
You're asking. 80s was a haze for me, mate. There's just no chance. There's just no chance.
Oh dear. Passive aggressive outrage article by whoever thought to make the players asking for a day off. Press is straight shameless, says DK Wilson. Anything from Stallone and Arnie, yeah, for sure. Guys, let's get into this because there's a bit of we talk about stirring the pot. What about Carragher? Did anyone see Carragher's take on Man United? Mr. B mentioned it earlier. Because it's saying here, because the manager had a press conference today, and this is on Carragher's analysis. He was asked about it. He said, first of all, this is in Dutch, by the way, so the English ain't going to be great. First of all, some analysts are very objective in their comments. Very good advice. Some are very subjective. Jamie Carragher, from the first moment on, has criticised, and now he wants to make his point. Probably in the first half an hour, yeah, he had a point. Fulham in their midfield setup surprised us a little bit, and then we have to find solutions. After half an hour, we found solutions. What do you think about the manager's reaction to Carragher's analysis of the issues with Man United, guys?
He reeled him in. That's the whole point of Carragher. Carragher now has got kudos because the manager mentioned his name in a press conference. So he got what he wanted from Ten Hag. And I think Ten Hag was an idiot for falling for the bait. I think somebody should have told him not to mention Carragher's name in a press conference.
Did he? So when he first came to the club, he signed Martinez. Carragher had quotes about that, didn't he? Was quite negative about he won't make it. He's too short, that sort of thing. So what do you think, Bath Time, about this response to Carragher? Should he have said anything at all?
Yeah, because he got asked the question, and you've always got the right to reply. And Carragher has a platform where I think he's excellent. Carragher, like I really annoys me that I find myself liking Jamie Carragher these days, but I think that his analysis was great. Him talking about how teams from the start of time till the end of time, the defensive priority is to be compact and narrow. Like that, I agree with him. That's the most important thing. We do the eye test and we highlight all the time all the problems with the spacing between the midfield and the attack and defense. Like how, although I don't like Ralph Rangnick, he did have a quote once, which was, "You can't do a little bit of pressing. It's like being pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant." And like our team are half pressing a lot of the time, and I think that Carragher highlighted a lot of stuff, and he used evidence. It wasn't like he was just describing something. It was there on the screen. You could see what he was talking about. It wasn't made up. It wasn't imaginary. It was real stuff. But the thing that gets me most is Ten Hag saying, yeah, in the first half an hour, he might have been right. Like, that's a third of a football match. But then we found the solution, and apparently the solution was to concede 2 goals. Like, what's he talking about? I think that like Ten Hag genuinely lives on Mars or something. He looks like a Martian, but I just don't. Carragher was right in what he said. Basically, it's something we've seen all season, and Ten Hag is basically showing that he has this blind spot where he can't see what literally everyone, from the man on the street to an ex-Champions League winner, can see.
Okay, so what about when he's saying here, Jamie Carragher from the first moment on has criticised and now he wants to make his point? Do you think this is a dig from Carragher to actually say, no, I'll take this, let me put something up and ask for advice? What do I say? Let me bury United if I can, because obviously he's Liverpool. Do you think there's anything in it to say that he's just trying to win over Liverpool fans by shitting on us while we're down on our faces?
Would you apply that to Hansen for Man United? Did you apply that for Neville for other teams? Like, well, not really. He's got a job
being said at Rio at the moment with Arsenal. He's come out with comments about Saka, and now he's saying about Arteta would easily come to Man United. And Arsenal fans are saying it's all because of the rivalry. He's trying to get us be on side.
Yeah, but look, if Ten Hag lives on Mars, Rio lives in a different solar system. I've seen him outside a train station announcing a Qatar takeover. Like, I mean, I don't know what is going on with Rio, but he's not the man that I thought he was, to be honest. He talks absolute drivel. But no, I think like Carragher is paid to do a job, and I think he does it quite fairly. And I think that most of the pundits are all right. If you want to talk about Gabby Abonglahor or someone like that, then yeah, they are agenda-driven morons. But I don't think Carragher is.
Okay, so a couple of comments about this. JD saying most of what Carragher said, sadly, is true. Some of it is nonsense, though. And Carragher's point has been valid since October, says Big T. Andrew saying Eric Ten Hag talking out of his, you can see what he says there. We've got Emma in the house. How you doing, Emma? Said Carragher's balls are blue right now after Ten Hag said. Emma, wow.
Sorry.
He's been spitting BS. Obviously, Carragher's
Nice.
been a big thing. Big up Bila with that one. Andrew Williams saying, if that's us when we have found the solutions, then we are solving the wrong puzzles. Talking about the second paragraph there.
Talking about Rashford's jigsaw puzzle. That's the only thing United have solved this season.
Do you think the affection that Ten Hag has for United is affecting his ability to do the job, says Bart? Maybe hiring someone neutral like Gerrard soon is all right. Let's not go there. Big T saying if we're a manager that is all about transition, we lose the ball from them and can't defend them. I have no coaching badges, but you can keep conceding from pushing forward. Stop bloody doing it. Absolute drivel, says Andrew. Ahmad is wanted to play as well, says Lucky Singh. How you doing, Lucky Singh? Ericsson looking for a start as well, he's saying here. Ten Hag is like the Joe Biden of the football world, says Big T. Oh, God. Agreed, Darius. This method of play has not worked all season. Andrew, that is. Andrew again saying if he cannot spot it, he's not up for the job. Lucky Singh saying he's Liverpool pundit. Of course he's going to say that. And he said that about Arsenal as well. Arteta is coming, ask Rio, said Big T. And rivalries in the studio as well. Darius is spot on there for sure. Open your eyes, says Lucky Singh. DK saying, I've watched him try to talk slick talk SHIT during the Champions League games and have to get reeled in or laughed at by Thierry Henry as well. Big up to Tyrone. He says, apparently Jim wants 11 players gone. I hope Rashford and Martial on the list. Martial's going in the end season. It's about time Ericsson parted as well. Okay, so this is all about Carragher. Mr. B sort of hinted that he sort of he was baited here, and he did respond to it. I don't like the response from Ten Hag either. I think he should have sort of just dismissed it in a way and moved on. Let's move on as well with the other part of the press conference. I will have to read this, guys, because this is about young players. And first of all, I brought Kobe Mainu, and everyone is questioning. Now we are 6 weeks in, and the same questions are asking if he's going to be in the England squad from the same people. This is what Ten Hag's saying, because he's asked for patience with the young players. So 6 weeks ago, they were questioning him playing Mainu. Now they're saying he should be starting for England from the same people saying. Garnacho, it's the truth. What's the manager doing? That was the question. What is the staff doing? Similar. They need time. Amari, talk about Forson, came on, and it's not easy to come in the game because we didn't play our best game. But he plays a reasonable game, he reckons. I think he showed abilities that he can be a player for the future. They need some time, talking about young players, but they also have to know in top football, you don't get the time, you have to perform. When you come in, you have to show it. But as a manager, I know they need the time. That is the paradox. I will give them time. I believe in his players. So he's endorsing youth players there. And just to remind you, the 19-year-old forward, Forson, he made his first Premier League start on Saturday in the defeat against Fulham. This was despite the likes of Anthony and Diallo starting the match on the bench, showing that Erik ten Hag has some faith in the inexperienced forward. We talked about Forson last couple of days as well. What do you think about these comments about the young players? Do you think he's right to sort of bring them in? Do you think this has been part of his legacy to bring young players in? We've seen Garnacho, we've seen Kobe Mainu become sort of first team starters. That's a good positive, no?
He's always been good with kids. That was what he did at Ajax. So that part of it, and sometimes you can't hold them back on Monday. Maybe they're just too good that it wouldn't have taken a rocket science to have got them in the squad or playing in the games. Right now, squad depth means that players like Forson, who probably shouldn't really be seeing first team football, are now being thrown into it. He loaned out maybe players. Hugo maybe would have done a better chance, but he's already out on loan. We just seem to not say push out the wrong players, but I had heard of Amari Forson before, but obviously the last couple of games, but I've heard of Hugo. So I don't know if, he wouldn't have done a job. I can't see Forson being, he may be more skilled, but I don't think he would be more ready to play first team football than maybe a Hugo who they loaned out. I just think the way that we loaned players out and sold a lot of them was a bit wrong, to be fair.
Youth players, is this the legacy for Ten Hag? He seems to be endorsing them. He had a choice at the weekend there, Bath time. Do you play Forson or do you play Diallo, who's more experienced, even though he's got little experience, or Anthony? And he went for the Forson, the youngster. What does this suggest?
Well, to be honest, I'm pretty stunned by these quotes that are coming out from Ten Hag. I really, really do not like these because I don't think any of these are true. I don't think people have been saying like Mainu and Garnacho shouldn't be in the team. People have been calling for Mainu since we saw him play against Arsenal in the pre-season. So I don't think that that's true. I think that that's basically like a lie. And I also don't like the fact that it feels like it's directed at fans. What is the manager doing? What is the staff doing? Like, no one has said what is the manager doing about Kobe Mainu and Garnacho. We've been talking about the things with Carragher. So I feel that this is deflection, that it's almost sort of calling out anyone who's had an opinion on his managerial style, which I don't like personally, because you're the Man United manager and you've got to deal with these kind of questions and then not give up these half answers. For me, I really like what I saw from Forson. He might not be ready, but I felt that he offered something different. But what he offered different was from Anthony, who is the manager's signing, who cost a ridiculous amount of money that we're going to lose money on, and it's held us back in the transfer market for 2 years. So I would much prefer him talk about people saying, "Oh, Anthony's rubbish," and defend him, rather than sort of say "Look, no one believed in Mainu and Garnacho except for me, and now look at them." Wow. That's a joke of a quote.
Andrew Williams saying Darius on fire tonight. Completely correct. Utter deflection as well. A couple more from the guys in the comments. They're saying, Andrew again saying 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Erik ten Hag's just talking out of his backside, deflecting from what is happening in front of our eyes. DK was saying, Andrew Williams, I won't even talk about Ten Hag. Get a grip, mate. Don't you do start. Don't you do start, please. Stop. Separate them, guys, in the comments. Amad Diallo getting ahead of Anthony now. Andrew Williams saying here he's been too slow to bring them in. Who starts in place of Maguire? Evans or Kalamba? That's from Double A. How you doing, Double A? And he think Anthony will come good as another delusion. Tyron saying here, Garnacho has done well due to the fact that Rashford and Sancho have been below par. Ten Hag had no choice to give him a chance. Emma's saying here, replying to Andrew, you got to ease the kids in. You can't just chuck them in because they've had one good training session, for example. He had to be dragged, kicking and screaming to play the youngsters, says Andrew. His brother Tyrone says, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for that, Tyrone. I think he shuffled the formation up way too much. The formation, he says here. We just need to switch up Haaland for someone who can hold up the ball. And we've got Garnacho going well, is debatable. Better than Rashford. But so many comments coming in. We're going to move on with a very controversial issue here. It's about Anthony. Okay.
You've chosen the spin picture.
Yeah, there's a reason why. There's a reason why, because the question. Now, think about this, guys. Here's first quote. Let me go on to the second paragraph. What the manager said. The manager said he's defending Anthony. He said, Anthony, I backed him for a long time. I know his abilities, and he has great abilities. When he plays like I know from the past, he is unstoppable. Keyword, unstoppable. No defender can stop him because he's one of the quickest players in the first 10 yards. So unstoppable, no defender can stop him. One of the quickest players in the first 10 yards. When he plays the game, he will perform. I'm sure he will do for the future. I'm sure he's resilient. He is a character, and he will fight back, and I back him. He now has to wait for his chance, and once he has it there, he has to pick it up. I'm going to leave the top paragraph for now. But what do you think about these comments? He's defending him, saying, Mr. B said here that he's unstoppable, and no defender can stop him because over the first 10 yards, he's one of the quickest. And he says he knows he's resilient, he's got great character, and he will fight back and perform. And when he does get his chance, it's up to him. He's going to do the business. He's been there a while now. What are your thoughts on the comments and Anthony as we speak?
The more he talks, the more I just think it's waffle. And one day, I don't understand what the hell he's talking about. You know, I understand you want to defend the play. You're not playing him. He's not playing him. So he's just gone through the whole over 10 yards, blah, blah, blah. Anthony was keeping out players. I mean, look, you said Sancho is now in Dortmund, stinking up the place, mind. Let me just put it out there. He's not, you know, he's not tearing the place down. I know why he bought him. The price that he bought him for, I don't blame him. I blame the club for. But for him to be saying what he's saying and us as fans see what Anthony does week in, week out, game in, game out, it makes him sound like an idiot. It makes him sound like an idiot. I don't think he's doing himself any favors at all. I mean, you have to answer the question, and he can't not back Anthony, but the proof, he's not playing him. He's not played him in any games. And the fact that you said Forson came on ahead of him and Ahmad came on ahead of him shows how far down the pecking order he's come. He's fallen. He's just got to go. Hopefully, nobody else is going to ask him any more stupid questions about Anthony, so he doesn't have to embarrass himself. But yeah, I understand he has to back him, but Anthony's time is done. I mean, it was coming out today that the club are willing to accept a loss. Surprise, surprise, it's going to be a loss. It's just how much of a loss they're going to have to take to get him out of the club.
What do you think about these comments, Bath Time? And do you agree with Mr. B? I mean, because I want to focus on being unstoppable, great abilities, no defender can stop him. He's one of the quickest players over the first 10 yards. Resilient, great character as well. And once he's back, he will pick it up. Do you see any truth in these comments?
No, but I prefer them. I mean, I've seen Dan Byrne, who is like half tree, like stop like Anthony over 10 yards. Ten Hag can't believe what he's saying here. But as everyone has said, like Anthony has dropped down behind Forson and behind Damad in the pecking order. So he's come out and he's given good quotes to get his confidence up, said that he's going to get a chance and he has to take that chance. So even though that this is guff, that we know that Anthony is a bollocks, like at least when you compare this to Sancho, where Sancho didn't play in a game and he just gave negative comments about him in a press conference, at least this kind of shows that Ten Hag is learning a little bit and has built him up. But you also have to sort of wonder how this affects other players in the squad when they see this and that they know that this is just an absolute joke, that Anthony is not a fast winger. He's not explosive over 10 yards. And to be honest, I would think that championship players wouldn't have too much of an issue dealing against 90% of his skill set. So, you know, if you've got a bit of a doubt in Ten Hag and he comes out with this, you're like, this is absolute nonsense. But this is for Anthony, and this is to try and build Anthony's confidence up and say that we believe in him as a club. So I'm all right with this, even if it's nonsense.
Okay, great comments coming in, guys. I'm bringing them up. You can read them because we have to move on to the other points as well. I'm going to read the top paragraph, and just for a bit of balance. Obviously, I'm playing devil's advocate here with regard to Anthony. So, sharing a clip of his compatriots doing his spin move, Neymar tagged Anthony on Instagram and wrote, "Keep it up. Don't change anything. Go for it, boy. Boldness and joy." So, encourage that spin move and all the skills that he's doing. Anthony himself posted a defiant message on Instagram earlier in the day saying, "We are known for our art, and I will not stop doing what has brought me here, what has brought me to where I am today." So he's getting endorsements from Neymar about keep it up, don't change anything, go for it, boy, boldness and joy. And we always go on about Ronaldinho and his skills and playing with a smile on his face and entertaining the crowds. You know, what do you think about the balance here between having skill and being effective and actually getting results? Because Neymar's got skill and he's a great player. He's obviously clearly better than Anthony, but he's endorsing Anthony here, telling him to continue doing what he's doing, be bold, and go for and have some more joy in your game. What do you think about players like that? Or should we be robots? What about expression? What about showing yourself, being creative and things like that? Isn't that what Anthony's all about? Isn't that what entertainment and football's all about these days?
If you use a skill and it goes past a player, you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
When you do a skill and go around in a circle, then kick the ball out of play, there's an issue. That's the difference. If you've got it in your locker, I like when a player goes past a man with a little bit of skill. I love it. You know, I lost my mind when Rashford flick-flapped the ball through Partey's legs when we played Arsenal. I love it, but it was effective at the time. You know, I have no idea how effective that skill would have been on anybody, but you have to be able to execute, and something has to happen after, or you may as well have just passed the ball around him. You see what I mean? So if you've got it, use that's what you have to use, you know, but let it be effective, man. Just don't do it for the sake of doing it. You look like an idiot, which he did.
Not according to Neymar, though, bath time, because he's endorsed it. You played in South America. I mean, isn't that part of the game to have a bit of skill and flair and get the fans going and nuts and things like that? That's you know, entertainment at its best.
Not really, to be honest. Like, Brazil is wildly overrated for this sort of flair. Like, but you know, the typical Brazilian player isn't like someone like Ronaldinho or Ronaldo. It's more like a Dunga, like extremely like dirty central midfielders. Like that's what Brazil produce more. But I think Mr. B is completely correct to talk about the context of this Anthony spin. Because if I remember correctly, it was the second half 0-0 against Sheriff. He was out by himself and he just did a self-indulgent playground move. It's the sort of thing that you do in your first training session of a new club to sort of say, hey, look at me, I can do stuff on the ball. And then he just booted it out of play. And for him to say, we are known for our art, when that was what it was, like tricks have to have some kind of like intention or direction. Like, you do a trick to beat a man. You don't do a trick out by yourself, like in front of the away end, just sort of spinning around like Kylie Minogue. It's absolute nonsense. And like, I think that there's probably a broader social reason why Neymar has done this, because of things that have happened in Antony's past, and he's a very popular player amongst Brazilians, basically because he beat a charge instead of beating a man. And I just don't care what Neymar says. He's the most skillful player that's ever existed that has needed a referee to win him a football match. I don't care for him.
I took the missus out on Saturday to the South Bank to see an old Brazilian film. It's called City of God. You might have seen it.
Yes,
yeah,
it's brilliant.
Lovely film. Yeah, I love
Zay
it.
Roberto.
Say?
Little Z always reminded me of Zay Roberto. They look very similar.
Yeah, he was a nutter, wasn't he? But the music and the samba and that kind of vibe, it gets you going. When you hear that beat and the drums going and the football and the skill and the Ole the beach football, it's a beautiful thing to admire. But yes, I do think Neymar, by endorsing him and telling him to continue, and then him actually being defiant with his message and saying, we are known for this is our art, I will not stop doing what brought me here where I am today. I just think he needs to tone it in a bit. Ronaldo, when he first came to Man United, was doing a lot of tricks and skills, overdoing it a bit, entertaining, but then he got told, no, we have to be effective here. Just do, in the final third, just get the ball in the box or whatever is required to be effective, you know. So a lot of comments here. Just want to quickly go forward before we move on. Annie impersonating dog called chasing his tail. That's from Stephanie. Neymar was quality at Santos and Barca, went downhill once he joined PSG. Anthony thought he was on at the circus, says Jaylee. Blair is okay when you're top of the league. Until then, keep it away. Neymar is a generational talent, says Bart. Tyrone saying here, has there ever been a more skillful footballer than Rivellino? That little flip-flap he did was brilliant. Maybe Anthony should watch clips of him as well. And City of God, one of his top 10 films. No doubt about it. My missus loved it. She'd never seen it before. So I was getting kudos points for taking her to the South Bank to watch that. All right. We all agree. Let's talk about Nottingham Forest, guys. This is a big game coming up. I've got here, as you can see, last two games they played in the same formation. They got a new manager. So it looks like that's the shape they start with. I just want to pick out three key players. Big up Bath Time for starting this off with picking out players that are going to be a threat. Let's start with the injuries first. Nuno Tavares, remember him from Arsenal, the left back, he's out. Sangare, we know about him. We were interested in him a couple of years ago from PSV. He's now playing for Nottingham Forest. Midfielder, he's out. Willy Bole, the centre back, he's out. The left back, Ayana, he's out. And Chris Wood, the big striker, is out as well. Those are definites. But let's talk about the first guy here. Awonia. How do you pronounce his name? Awoni. Yeah. Awoni. Let's say the Nigerian bulldozer. He boasts the best shot conversion rate in the Premiership. So if you explain what it means, 15 appearances this season, 6 goals. Overall, since he's come to the Premier League, he scored 16 goals in 42 appearances for Forest. Look at the chest, big, strong guy. He scored a lot of goals and he's been very effective. Good signing, I think. And I think he's going to cause us problems, especially with the weak defence we have. What do you think of him, guys? Bath Time, I'll start with you because Mr. B's jumped out. This Awoni, Nigerian Bulldog, what do you think of him, man? Because the stats really pretty good. Best shot conversion rate in the Premier League. And that includes some world-class strikers.
Well, he's on form in it, and he's like, this is his second season in the league. He wasn't that impressive like last year, was he? When like you look at he had like 10 goals in 30 appearances. He's a 1 in 3 striker, and he's moved to a 1 in 2 striker. So maybe he's adapting to the league. I personally don't think that his skill set is what's going to be the issue against United. Like, he's strong, he's a good he's good in the penalty box and stuff like that. But from what we've seen from United, that isn't like an issue. What's an issue is having a correct team set up that stops midfielders running through us and passing back to the edge of the box. So I don't really think that it matters how good he is as a focal point striker. That is not anywhere near the biggest threat that we have. The biggest threat we have is how we set up our team.
Certainly. So, do you think that anything comes from Morgan Gibbs-White? Because he's a player I've highlighted there as well. And he's sort of a number 10, plays in that sort of position. He drives forward, gets into good positions. And he also damaged us the last time we played them by scoring from just outside in that zone. It was zone 16.
14. He also should have been sent off against us. I don't know if you remember, but I think he like kicked Delo up in the air and then jumped on McTominay or something within like 30 seconds in the in the game that we lost a month or two ago. Yes, he I think is much more of a threat because he's very strong and he's a strong runner. So he's going to give Kobe Mainu and Casemiro real issues just based off that power and mobility. He can carry the ball. He's got quality around him, and he's got good energy and fitness levels. And we're at a point with our team where we're not really being undone by great skill or passing moves. We're being undone by people just running through the bloody middle, and there's not enough men here. So Morgan Gibbs-White is is going to be a real issue. And if I remember correctly, against Forest earlier in the season, McTominay came on to man mark him in the second half. So I think that special attention is going to be paid to him by Ten Hag at the weekend. Tomorrow. So I think a very good shout to identify him on Monday because the manager has.
Well, I just want to shout out. He scored 3 goals this season, 4 assists. That's in 25 appearances. He's done really well for the England youths, and he's sort of on the cusp, maybe, if he keeps performing and getting into the England team for the Euros, maybe at the end of the season. Good strong runner, good player. What do you think of him, Mr. B? We discussed the striker, but Bath saying that the area we need to worry about is through the middle and strong runners like Morgan Gibbs-White.
Has he had a position change this season?
Last 2 games, he's played there.
Yeah, I don't remember him playing so far forward. I mean, he's a danger, but then against us, Barkley looked like a well beater. So I think if the team do what they need to do, see, we've seen him play. We know what he did to us in the last game. Do your homework and cover the position that you feel he's going to be playing in. But if not, then yeah, he will cause trouble. It's gonna. He will be. Where have you got him? You've got him there as a number 10, right? Yeah, I think that's his best position. Look, if they can't find him with the football, then that's fine. But when he does have it, we need to be. I think Lucky Singh put it in there. We need to be on him tight. We need to be on him really, really tight. It's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. That matchup.
But if we go on him tight, Mr. B, do you trust Casemiro and Mainu to be able to deal with him physically?
I trust Casemiro to be able to deal with him physically.
What
Mainu, I would have to see, but I think Casemiro should be able to deal with Gibbs-White. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, who is that like Wolves guy? Nuno
Cunha.
Gomez. Yeah, Cunha just ran past Casemiro and bounced him around like Anana's eating Casemiro for breakfast, like every game. Like if Casemiro goes tight with Gibbs-White, I think he'll just spin him and run in behind, and Casemiro's just going to be plodding like a T-Rex.
So you think you should drop off him and let him turn?
Yeah, I think we have to. I think that if we play Casemiro and Kobe, we've seen that, like, right, they're good players, no doubt about that, but the limitations are with their physicality. Like, Kobe's a young boy, and the men are running past him, which is to be expected. Casemiro's an old dog that was never particularly mobile, and men are running past him. I think we've got to sit deeper rather than getting tight. Make them play through us. See what their quality on the ball is.
Oh, they'll be able to play through us. If we invite them to play for us, they will play through us.
It's interesting that because they've had a manager change, haven't they? The manager that brought them up and got them this far, they made loads of signings. There's to stay in the Premier League. They're just off relegation zone, but bringing in the new manager, that's probably where the change has come. They did play a back three a lot of the time this season with the old manager. So it looks like last 2 games, this has been their same shape and setup going forward. 2 wide men who are dangerous, I feel. And one of them is Alanga. We know him very well, don't we? He scored 5 goals this season and 7 assists. So all in all, that's 12 contributions in 25 appearances. And he looks faster than I've ever seen him before. Let's talk about Alanga, guys. How much of a threat? And obviously, when they beat us previously, he actually didn't feel no way about calling it out and saying, yeah, I'm not in Forest now. I'm buzzing about scoring against my old club. Alanga.
I think he's rubbish. I do. What did he do for us? What did Alanga do for us when he was at club? Nothing. All he used to do was run up. All he used to do is run off the pitch. No, I don't have. I think we got half decent money for him. Maybe Forest is the level that he needs to be playing at, so he can play week in, week out. If he ever got sold, would he get sold for more than the 15 million that they paid for him? I don't think so.
If he doubles that, gets 10 goals and 14 assists by the end of the season, I think that would be looking pretty good.
I think Alanga's already worth about 30 million.
Good.
Like, he's got a goal contribution like every other match. And he can score goals from wide areas. Like I think that he would get in a lot of teams in the Premier League. I'm really disappointed we let Alanga go because he was a youth player. I would always love the youth players unless they're Rashford. But I liked his work rate. He was this counts against him, but he was a favourite of Rangnick. I think that he was a player that did exactly what you asked him to on the pitch, and I agree he had technical limitations, but so do a lot of players, to be honest. And I think that he would be someone that. Like, how many games do you think he would have started this season if he'd been in the squad?
7 to 10.
As little as that?
Yeah.
Like the only thing
is, we gave Anthony a chance for so long that it would have probably only been recently that he probably would have been playing.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say about Alanga is that whilst I didn't want him sold, it does make sense because we have Garnacho, who I think has a much higher ceiling than Alanga was coming through, and Alanga was in the way. But I think it was ridiculous to sell him for as little as 15 million. He was 25 million pound player. I don't really mind him sort of like saying that he's Forest now and not United, like because it's a personal thing, isn't it? He's gone for his career and stuff. He's not been outrageously disrespectful to us. He left in a good way, and he probably feels that he was forced out and wasn't given the opportunities because in the games he did play under Ten Hag, like when Ten Hag was under pressure, like after Brentford and Brighton. He brought Delot, McTominay and Alanga in, and they performed really well for 5 or 6 games and steadied the ship and stuff. And then you see the loyalty that Ten Hag has shown, like to players like Rashford and Antony and Eriksen, and none of that went to Alanga. And I can imagine that he's got something to prove and will be, won't need any extra motivation and like. Apart from tomorrow, I wish him well in his career because I think he's a good player, and I think that he's one of the few players that's come through the youth academy in recent years that has the correct values to have been a Manchester United player in terms of working hard for his teammates and the fans.
Good shout. So we haven't got Solo's 11, but based on what we've seen here, the threats, the setup, the new manager. They're fighting relegation. Is it very important for them to win the FA Cup and go through play that, or should they be focused on relegation?
The league. I hope they play all of their kids tomorrow. I hope they play. I hope they give debuts to 14 players. I hope their bench is full of unknowns, and they just want to concentrate on the league because the FA Cup is going to be an extra game that they don't want to play.
And Everton have had their points reduction reduced.
Yeah, they
Like-
got 4 points, but was it now 6 instead of 10? Is that right?
Yeah,
right,
6
yeah.
instead of 10, and Forest have one hanging over them, which I personally think it sounds like a slam dunk points deduction. Like they held a player too long before selling him because they wanted better value for him, and they've clearly broken the rules. So I think they're getting a points deduction, and this game, I can't see them like not prioritizing the league, like the players for their careers. Like beating Man United in the FA Cup, brilliant, but staying up in the Premier League is your career. That's your livelihood. I think that they will all be focused on that, and it will be a very similar situation to where we absolutely smacked Palace up in the Carabao Cup, and then when we played them in the Premier League a couple of days later, it was completely different.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that on Monday. You were really gassed about that one. Palace game. I do remember that actually. Thinking that Monday's just put his bloody mouth on us. Yeah.
All right, looking at the lineup, we don't have a solo 11. How do you think we should set up against this newly formed, new manager, new fresh team? They've got a few injuries in defence and centre midfield, but their attacking lineup, the attacking four, look pretty decent as well. How do you think we set up against a team like this, and what's the result going to be? Starting with you, Bath Time.
I've got some pretty wild takes for this one. I would play Casemiro as a central defender. I would play Amrabat, Kobe, and McTominay in the midfield, which I believe that is the midfield that drew away at Anfield. I would keep Forson in the team. I know a lot of people want Diallo and stuff, but I don't think that Forson was given the right platform to show his skills. He's ahead of Diallo or Ahmad, whatever he's called, for a reason. And I think it's a bit unfair to just hook him and put someone else in when I felt the team didn't play well. I'd keep Lindelof at left back. I'd keep Delo at right back. I'd drop Rashford. No, I wouldn't. I'd play Rashford at striker and Garnacho. So two changes that I'm making is I'm probably playing Evans and Casemiro with my new Amrabat and Casemiro much deeper, and then having Forson, Rashford and Garnacho as the attacking line.
Okay, Mr. B, with all the injuries we've got, knowing what Nottingham Forest have got, how do you set up tomorrow against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup?
Kambwala, he can play on the right hand side, right?
He's done it before, yeah.
I'm playing Delo, Kambwala, Evans, and Amrabat. I'm not taking Casemiro out of the central midfield. I'll play him there again. I would be playing Ericsson in the Bruno role. And I still wouldn't be playing Scott McTominay. I'd have Rashford one side. I'd have Ahmad centrally, and I'd have Garnacho on the right.
Okay.
Are you playing Amrabat at left back?
Yeah.
Delo right back, and Evans and Kambala as the central players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Ericsson, Casemiro fit is big. Ahmad's going to start as well. That's from Lucky Singh.
What are you having on Monday? What team are you having? You've asked us.
I'm trying to think of the injuries. So obviously Maguire's out, Varane's out. Yeah. Wow.
Maguire is 100% out. Varane and Bruno are doubts, but you would think even if they're fit, we got a game against City on Sunday, and probably going
Evans and the youth. I'm with Mr. B. Evans and the young guy, Dallo, Lindelof. I think go with that. Midfield, I would go with McTominay, the young boy, Kobe, and Casemiro. And then,
so were you playing? So
yeah. Oh my God, it's a tough one. Isn't it? All right, so pecking order. I think Ericsson's been not getting games these days. Maybe it's an opportunity for Ericsson. Drop Kobe. Drop Casemiro. Drop Casemiro. Put Ericsson, Amrabat, and McTominay, Amrabat, and Ericsson in midfield. Thinking about the weekend as well. And then obviously...
So Amrabat plays Kobe's position?
Yes. Amrabat plays the deepest, and then you got the
So
channel.
Amrabat at 6.
Yeah.
The pivot.
Then
Okay.
you've got McTominay
Jesus
to do the
Christ,
channel
remember
play and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And Ericsson in there as well. And then obviously the wide guys, I think they're fresh. They be all right. Forson, I'd start with him again. I didn't see the game the other day. I'm not qualified to talk on it. But
That's why you're picking Ericsson.
Okay, yeah, but there you go. Apparently he played poor, didn't he? Forson, Rashford, Garnacho. I'd go with that and start with that and see what's on the bench if there's anything left after that. And the scoreline as well, because taking everything into consideration, I think we have to win this game. This is why I went back to what happened to Fergie. The pressure's on at Man United. You can't afford to sort of lose games like this. I think we have to win. I think we'll go extra time. And would it be settled tomorrow? I'm sure it'll be settled tomorrow.
Yeah, it has to be. There's no
I
overtime.
think we'll go extra time.
Injury and penalties. Yeah,
extra time and maybe win it in extra time. That's where I see it going. I think Forest, like you said, the big factor for me is that they're in relegation trouble, and Everton had that good news recently. It's not their main concern. I'm going for an extra time win, 2-1 Man United. Guys, in the comments, what do you think? We've really broken it down today. After all that, what's your thoughts on the game? Mr. B.
We've broken down the 80s, Monday.
Yes. Yeah, it's a history lesson, geography lesson, and a film lesson as well about action films. So, Mr. B.
I think it does go. I think it goes to penalties. I think we win on penalties tomorrow. I can't see us winning in 90 minutes.
I'm really surprised because I actually thought penalty, like even before talking to either of you, I thought that it would probably be penalties because it is exactly the result that we don't need, having to play extra time before Sunday's big match, and also it means that we're up later for the match reaction. And you know what Mr. B's like when he's cranky, like. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going 2-0 United in normal time. There's got to be a reaction from the Fulham game. They've got to give Forson a platform to go on. They know that they're under pressure. I think that the majority of them believe in the manager. They owe the fans a performance. And I'm hoping that they're actually wanting to play City and wanting to be in the team on Sunday. Like I think players like McTominay, Forson, Lindelof, Evans, I think they'll all really want to get. They should see this as an opportunity to get in the first team and hammer down a place. So I'm actually now I've managed to delude myself into a 2-0 comfortable United win.
Okay, guys in the comments, Bart saying 1-0 United. Stephanie saying here 1-0 United. Big T saying 3-0 to Forest. Ooh. Read better. How you doing? So he thinks the players will throw Ten Hag under the bus. 1-0 Forest. JD saying here if it's draw after extra time, it stops. I don't think it's pens tomorrow. We get a replay at United. So maybe I'm wrong about that. 1-0 or 2-0 for Lucky Singh for United. Andrew saying here, I think we fold and we go into the City game in a crisis. 3-1 Forest. Any more scorelines? DK will say 2-1 United. And we got 2-0 for the Forest. Oh God, has it come this bad? Has it got this bad that we actually?
No, he said Wood is out, so the danger man is not there. So that to me suggests that we're beating Forest 2-0.
He says 2-0 Forest, and Woods is out, so the danger man is not there.
All right, well we'll see what he says.
Yeah, what do you mean there, JD? 2-0 United or maybe pens. All right, that's a wrap, guys. We will be back tomorrow for the live game. Mr. B, you covering the game tomorrow, are you? That's a yes, I believe. I'm miming. Yeah. I can lip read. Yeah, that's definitely he's covering the game, and we will be doing
shit. Sorry, apologies.
We'll be doing a post-match reaction as well, guys. It's really good to have so many people in the comments today. And instead of watching FA Cup football, we'll watch it tomorrow, and you tune into the United agenda as well. Press the like button. Thanks again for tuning in. And we will be back tomorrow for the game. And obviously, 10, 15 minutes after the game, we'll be doing a match reaction, hopefully with Dora. Big up to Dora. Hopefully we see her tomorrow and get her views on this current crisis. Come on, United, let's get behind the team. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to sign out now and just say thanks again. 18, 19 in the comments. love that, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.